The Israeli government has approved a U.S. brokered ceasefire resolution, which includes the release of all hostages held in Gaza. Israelis and Palestinians celebrated the potential end to the war, with U.S. President Donald Trump saying Israeli hostages will likely be released early next week. North Korea is set to hold a major military parade, most likely tonight, to mark the 80th anniversary of the founding of its ruling Workers' Party. Eyes are now on what kind of weapon systems will be on display at the event, which is expected to be attended by the second highest-ranking officials from China and Russia. South Korean stocks opened higher this morning, and the benchmark KOSPI briefly climbed above 3,600 points for the first time during trading. But the Korean currency is weakening against the US dollar, with the $1 rate soaring to over 1,423 Korean won per dollar. Hello and thanks for joining us on Arirang News. We begin today in the Middle East, where the first phase of a U.S. brokered ceasefire between Israel and Hamas has now been officially approved by the Israel's government, marking a breakthrough after 2 years of war in Gaza. The deal promises the release of all remaining hostages and an end to fighting, but questions remain about what comes next. Our Muniran starts us off.
Israel's government has approved a ceasefire resolution that includes the release of all hostages held in Gaza, both the living and the remains of the dead. The vote came late Thursday night local time, clearing the way for the first phase of U.S. President Donald Trump's peace plan to take effect. Trump's Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff and his son-in-law Jared Kushner attended the meeting, where Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu personally thanked them for their work.
We know that it's for the benefit of Israel and the United States, for the benefit of decent people everywhere, and for the benefit of these families who will finally get to be with their loved ones.
Trump said the release of hostages could happen soon and hinted at a visit to the region as early as Sunday.
I think it's the hostages will be coming back Monday or Tuesday. I'll probably be there. I hope to be there.
Under the deal, Hamas will free all remaining Israeli hostages in exchange for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. Israeli troops will begin withdrawing from parts of Gaza, and fleets of trucks carrying food and medical aid will surge into the territory, with the United Nations declaring full support. But implementation of the plan raises difficult questions about what comes next, including whether Hamas will disarm, how a full Israeli withdrawal will unfold, and who will govern Gaza once the fighting stops. To help oversee those next steps, AP News reported that U.S. officials said a new coordination center is being established, staffed by about 200 American service members with expertise in logistics, transportation, security, and engineering. A senior defense official reportedly said no American troops will enter Gaza, but they'll help monitor the ceasefire's implementation and the transition into a civilian administration in the territory. Celebrations and praise poured in from around the world, including South Korea. In a statement issued by its foreign ministry spokesperson, Seoul said it highly values President Trump's leading proposal for this agreement, as well as the mediation efforts of neighboring countries in the region. It also pledged to actively participate in international efforts to promote peace in the Middle East. 문혜련, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, over in North Korea, the regime is planning to hold a massive military parade, possibly tonight, celebrating the 80th anniversary of the founding of its ruling Workers' Party. And marking the occasion, top officials from China, Russia, and Vietnam arrived in the North Korean capital to take part in the event. Our Lee Seung-jae has more.
North Korea is expected to hold a massive military parade in Pyongyang's Kim Il-sung Square to mark the 80th anniversary of the founding of its ruling Workers' Party. There had been speculation that the parade would take place last night on the eve of the anniversary, but so far there has been no official confirmation that the event was held. Attention is focused on what new weapons North Korea may unveil during the parade. The regime previously announced it was developing a new solid-fuel intercontinental ballistic missile known as the Hwasong-20, sparking speculation that it could make its debut in this anniversary event. If revealed, the Hwasong-20 would represent a major advancement in North Korea's missile technology, as solid-fuel ICBMs can be launched more quickly and are harder to detect than traditional liquid fuel systems. The parade is expected to feature high-ranking foreign guests, including top officials from China, Russia, and Vietnam, highlighting North Korea's deepening ties with its key partners. China's Premier Li Chang, the country's number 2 after President Xi Jinping, arrived in Pyongyang on Thursday, marking the first visit by a Chinese premier to North Korea in 16 years. Russia has also sent a high-level delegation led by Dmitry Medvedev, deputy chairman of the Russian Security Council, who is often described as the country's second in command. In addition, Vietnam's Communist Party chief To Lam arrived in Pyongyang for a state visit, the first by Vietnam's top leaders since 2007. According to the Vietnam news agency, Lam and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un held talks and agreed to strengthen cooperation, elevate bilateral relations, and expand high-level exchanges across party, government, and regional levels. Pundits say the presence of top figures from China, Russia, and Vietnam signals North Korea's intent to showcase solidarity with its traditional allies at a time of growing geopolitical tensions. The parade would not only mark a milestone in the Workers' Party's history, but also serve as a powerful display of North Korea's military capabilities and its strengthening diplomatic ties with Beijing, Moscow, and Hanoi. 이승재, Arirang News.
Russia's ruling United Russia Party on Thursday expressed its firm support for North Korea strengthening its defense capabilities, hinting at Moscow's acknowledgement of the regime's nuclear weapons development. Now, this is from a statement jointly issued by the Russian Party and the North Workers' Party of Korea, according to Pyongyang's state-run Korean Central News Agency. The statement blamed what they call the aggressive policies of the West, which continues illegally interfering in the internal affairs of sovereign states for current global tensions. In addition to that, the North Korean Party expressed full support for Russia's special military operations, while Russia's ruling party thanked the North for its decision to dispatch troops. South Korean stocks opened higher today, and benchmark KOSPI surged past the 3,600 mark for the first time briefly during trading today. The first session after the long Chuseok holiday, which kept markets closed for more than a week. The country's stock markets reopened at just over 3,598, up 1.38% from last Thursday's close. In the foreign exchange market, the $1 rate soared to over 1,423 Korean won per US dollar, up over 23 won since Thursday last week. Now, this marks the highest level in 5 months, mainly due to sluggish tariff deal talks between Seoul and Washington, the US government shutdown, and the recent rising dollar index. South Korea's foreign exchange reserves increased by more than 5.7 billion US dollars at the end of September, supported by higher investment returns and rising foreign currency deposits at financial institutions. According to the Bank of Korea on Friday, the country's reserves stood at $422.02 billion at the end of September, up 5.73 billion from a month earlier. The figure has now risen for 4 straight months after dropping to a near 5-year low in May. A central bank official said the growth was mainly due to stronger investment income and quarter-end inflows into foreign currency deposits. By asset type, securities such as government and corporate bonds increased by $12.25 billion, while holdings in IMF special drawing rights and gold reserves remained unchanged. And South Korea celebrated Hangeul Day on October 9th, a national holiday dedicated to the creation of the Korean alphabet. To commemorate the occasion, people from many different countries gathered to try Korean calligraphy together. Our Park Hyubin was there.
Slow, deliberate brushstrokes flow across sheets of paper, making the shapes of the Korean alphabet Hangeul. To mark Hangeul Day, participants from around the world attended an event at the Yeonnam Global Village Center, which supports foreign residents in adjusting to life in Seoul, to experience Korean calligraphy together. They said it was the perfect opportunity to experience writing Hangeul and share the spirit of Hangeul Day.
I am studying Korean now, and since it is Hangeul Day, I joined this event to practice a bit. It was really fun.
Normally, I don't pay much attention to my handwriting and just write quickly, but this time I focused more, and it felt like I was drawing rather than just writing Hangul.
Every October 9th, Korea commemorates the invention of Hangeul by King Sejong back in the 15th century. In the Hunminjeongeum manuscript, King Sejong wrote that he created the new writing system because it was painful to see the people using borrowed Chinese characters that do not match the Korean language or convey people's intentions properly. Hangeul is now regarded as one of the most scientific and easy-to-learn writing systems in the world. Hangeul's story and legacy continues to be written, not only by Koreans, but now by people from around the world.
Many people enjoy K-pop these days, but traditional culture like this also holds deep meaning. By writing Hangul, foreigners feel a deeper connection to Korea and greater affection for its culture.
Through calligraphy, visitors are not just writing letters, but also sharing the meaning of Hangeul Day. Park Hyubin, Arirang News.
In other news, Haenyeo, a UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity, are being reborn in a virtual reality game. But what's interesting about this is that the game is being produced by a foreign game developer through her learning about the female divers' lives on Jeju Island. Our Tae-Yeon has a story.
A diving test is underway at the Haenyeo School, an institute that aims to pass on the female diver's culture to a younger generation. Karen Strisinger, who is working on creating a virtual reality game with a Haenyeo as the main character, is also putting in a lot of effort. She became interested in Jeju Island and the Haenyeo culture after adopting an abandoned dog from Jeju Island. Strisinger is learning how Haenyeo dive to harvest shellfish to specifically incorporate their culture into a game she is producing. The reason why she's creating the game is to promote and preserve Haenyeo culture.
I thought the Haenyeo were amazing role models and environmental stewards, and I wanted to help share that with the world.
The game is basically about the process by which the main character becomes a Haenyeo on Jeju Island after quitting her job. Game users can virtually experience Haenyeo diving in the game. Strisinger hopes that through the game, people will develop an interest in the restoration of ecosystems that are being endangered by climate change.
I think that we can use storytelling through games to help teach people about how you might restore ecosystems.
This game received widespread attention at Unity for Humanity 2024, which awards funding, technical support, marketing, and other resources for creators seeking to make the world a more inclusive and sustainable place for all. Jeju Island is expecting that the game for the young generation could spread Haenyeo culture to the world. The game is set to be released early next year, and a portion of the proceeds will be donated to preserve Haenyeo culture. Cha Yoon-kyung, Arirang News.
This is The World Now, bringing you the latest stories from around the globe. Hungarian writer László Krasznahorkai has been awarded the 2025 Nobel Prize in Literature for his powerful explorations of modern chaos and the human spirit. The Swedish Academy praised him as a master of the long form, capturing the struggle between hope and despair. Born in Hungary in 1954, Krasznahorkai first gained international acclaim with Satantango and The Melancholy of Resistance, which were both adapted into films. Critics call his work haunting and lyrical, blending realism and philosophy to question how people endure uncertainty. In a statement, he said the prize, quote, belongs to everyone who still believes in language. The Nobel Committee will announce the Peace Prize later this week. And in the United States, the government shutdown enters its 9th day, with President Donald Trump declaring he will restore operations only after removing programs, quote, favored by Democrats. Around 750,000 federal workers remain furloughed or unpaid. Essential services from transport to food assistance are still under strain. Trump says he'll cut funding for green energy and urban aid while keeping military spending intact. Democrats accuse him of, quote, weaponizing the budget for political gain. Meanwhile, markets have reacted mildly, but analysts warn prolonged closure could slow fourth quarter growth. Talks will resume on Friday as both parties face pressure from public workers and investors. In India, police have arrested the owner of a pharmaceutical company after a cough syrup was linked to the deaths of at least 21 children. The victims, all under 5-year-olds, died in Madhya Pradesh over the past month after being prescribed the cough syrup known as Coldriff. Investigators found it was contaminated with diethylene glycol, a chemical used in antifreeze that can be fatal even in small amounts. Police have arrested the owner of Coldriff manufacturer Srezan Pharma, charging him with culpable homicide and drug adulteration. India's health ministry has banned the syrup in several states and ordered wider testing of children's medicines. The World Health Organization has asked whether contaminated batches were exported abroad, as children in Gambia and Uzbekistan have died from Indian-made cough syrup in the past. In New York, more than 250,000 fans are flooding into Comic-Con 2025. And this year, K-content is taking center stage. Attendees packed the Javits Center dressed as their favorite characters. Organizers expect about 250,000 visitors over the 4 days, celebrating everything from comics and anime to gaming and wrestling. And Korea's presence is unmistakable as a new K-content pavilion showcases hit webtoons like Solo Leveling and True Beauty alongside the voice cast of K-pop Demon Hunters. Chu Ji-hyun, Arirang News.
The long Chuseok break is officially over, but the rain that put a dampener on our vacation is not done with us yet. Those of us in the central regions are seeing constant rain all day today. The showers will spread to the Chungcheongdo provinces this afternoon. And until Sunday, northern Gyeonggi-do and Gangwon-do province could see 20 to 60 millimeters. The capital area and the rest of the country might get up to 40 millimeters. Meanwhile, if you're in the southern part of Korea, you will enjoy sunny skies on the warm Friday. Afternoon highs in Jeju will be 10 degrees higher, topping out at 28 degrees this afternoon. So those traveling north to south or the other way around need to take the weather into account and do dress accordingly. For a closer look, Seoul and Chuncheon will be only getting up to 18 degrees Celsius under soggy skies, but Gwangju will get up to 27 degrees under bright skies. Looking ahead, do expect more rain under gloomy skies through early next week. However, top temperatures will rise higher than today's afternoon highs.
Now that's all we have for today's noon edition of Arirang News. Thank you for watching. We'll be back at 5 p.m. Korea time. Stay tuned.